Okay, can we come to order? This is the Washington Area Highway Transportation Committee meeting. It is Monday, August 28th, 2023. Gina, could you do a roll call, please?
Craig Miller.
Here.
Ed Fisher.
Sure.
Stephen O'Connor.
Here.
Ray Frankenberg.
Here.
Bob Ingeman. Bill Stratman.
Here.
Mayor Hagedorn.
Here.
Joe Holtmeyer. Sandy Lucy.
Here.
Elby Applecamp. Bill Miller.
Here.
Tim Brinker. Here. Mike Coulter. Here. Jeff Niemeyer. Carl Stankovic. Darren Lang.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. I didn't expect to see a good group this morning. I was concerned. Anyway, thank you all for coming. First item on the agenda is always the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have any corrections or additions or deductions or whatever? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all. Amtrak, Craig, right away. Another handout
Well, you
here.
got some handouts hot off the presses. That was very kind of you, Gina. We did have a Moorpack, Missouri Rail Passenger Advisory Committee meeting shortly after our last meeting that I said I was going to go to. And I just have some highlights to talk about from that meeting. The information that is in the packets that you just got handed out was just stuff from that meeting about ridership rates, things like that. They talked about a number of things at the meeting. First orders, I guess, were about corridor ID programs for the Federal Rail Authority. I talked about this before, where the Moorpack group from Missouri has asked, they're doing a study to try to decide whether or not where they want to spend some federal money. Within existing corridors, our Missouri group asked for a third train, perhaps, to go up and down our River Runner route, and adding some access points to that route to St. Joseph, Missouri, north of Kansas City, and to Springfield, Missouri. So those are on their corridor ID program, and they have submitted all those, and they're expecting funding decisions on those. As far as they know from the Missouri side, that was the most, all of the requests that they had, and those funding decisions are supposed to be on November 1st. So that it really don't know what that's going to look like. I don't think they have any inclination whether they say, sure, we'll give you a bunch of money for that or not. They're kind of waiting till November to find that out. At that meeting, the KCATA also talked about things that they had requested from that Federal Rail Authority. KCATA is similar to our bi-state program on this side of the state, where it's Missouri and Illinois, and the Kansas and Missouri side on the west side. And they were talking about identifying some things they would like, which was all over the Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri area for rail, bus, metro, streetcar. And they're kind of putting that out there as they're hosting a World Cup coming up soon. They have need for passenger rail and other studies. So they have their kind of hands in a similar pot for those federal funding dollars, all to be kind of talked about and kind of handed down November 1st. So we're looking forward to hearing those. Amtrak discussed similarly on that Federal Rail Authority. They're asking them to do a long distance study. And that's talking about regional rail around the country. There used to be more cities interconnected on that long distance rail program. Some of them have gotten, like we experienced, just less and less trains running those routes. So they're submitting, Amtrak is, more long distance studies for regional restored passenger rail, which would link cities like maybe Kansas City to Des Moines or, Chicago to wherever. So they're working on those studies as well. They talked about $50 million in railroad safety that Mike Parson was just out a couple weeks ago announcing that he went ahead and signed that. The state appropriated $50 million for rail safety following our derailment that we had here in Missouri for rail crossings around the state. He went ahead and signed that, so they're releasing that money to MoDOT to do work on some of those rail crossings around the state. I don't know if it'll fix all of them, but their idea is to identify the most dangerous ones and fund those. They talked about ridership. They are pretty excited because they feel like that ridership level has reached pre-pandemic levels. They're maybe just a couple percentage points shy of that. But both on the revenue side and on the passenger side, they're right around that pre-pandemic level, which is good news for them, and they continue to see growth, coming back. Let's see, this handout that Gina just printed for you, it goes quarter by quarter, but if you look at the last one, our Washington station in the fourth quarter, which would have been April, May, and June, we were almost 100% more, so double our passenger ons and offs here at our Washington station. So 1,700 people got on, 1,700 people got off. All of last year, it was 1,700 people combined ons and offs. So we are seeing more people getting on and off the train right here in Washington, so that's good news. And we are only 4% of that total ridership pie in that quarter too. So there are a lot of people on the trains that may or may not be getting on and off in Washington. So also room for growth there. And then I guess final thing there is they're talking about appropriations and funding for the following year. We got full funding for the 2 trains that we have currently. October is that appropriations for the next fiscal year. So they're working diligently on trying to make sure that they get the funds they need to continue that service. That's what they talked about at our MORPAC meeting.
That's great. How many people attend those meetings, Greg?
I would say about 30. There's
Good.
Representatives from all the stops that talk about their local stops. They talk about marketing for Amtrak. There are Amtrak representatives. There are Union Pacific representatives. There are MoDOT representatives. There are Missouri State Transportation representatives and tourism representatives from around those areas of the state as well.
Very good. Sounds like a big committee.
Yeah,
Yes.
all focused on trying to do everything they can to improve rail service.
Very good. Thank you.
Armin's ahead of Washington, I see.
They are. Well, you'll find especially around October, they get their peak season of people getting on and off the train there in Herman. And yeah, it's a big deal to them, to their tourism group, and yep.
Is there anything from us as a community you would like to have to bring back to them? I mean, do you have an opportunity to bring up a topic or speak or anything?
We do. Emily Hopkins, who's our tourism director, usually attends those meetings and brings up those things. In fact, I think I talked recently, they went on a station takeover in Illinois to promote our Chicago service, so a number of those tourism directors were at Springfield, Illinois, and a couple of other stops along the way, kind of promoting those Missouri stops, and now they have more direct access to them. So yes, that opportunity is there.
Very good. Very good. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none? Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
Causeway and Missouri River flood issue. Missouri River flood issue. Anything new on that from MoDOT's point of view? On the causeway? Or you guys cross the river? You know, there's some funding identified in the STIP program, unfunded, to start a process just to do some hydraulics, I think. I don't know that we're gonna see much on that probably until some of that comes, or we got a flood, one of them, so.
Do they put ratings on where this would rank in the state as far as projects go or anything like that?
It's an unfunded, so it's in the funnel, so to speak, but it's unfunded, so it's in the hydraulics is in the first tier, yeah, of 3. So, yeah, it's beyond the 5-year plan. So, whether it's 6, 7, 8, whatever, that's the question. Highway 47 Corridor Committee, have you guys met? Jim, have you guys met?
We have not met, there's nothing to report.
Okay, very good. Franklin County Transportation Committee? There you go.
The Franklin County Transportation Committee met 2.5 weeks ago. We did have a quorum. And the topic that was front and center was the approval of the recommendation of the administrator myself for the grants and it was supported unanimously and forwarded to the commission for their approval. So that should happen in the next week or 10 days. Those funds immediately become available for the entities that had requested the grant once they are finished with their projects.
That's all in the works, so to speak.
It's all there and ready to go. It ended up being a total of $459,000 that we awarded.
Very good.
So, any questions?
No, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. You know, on the Highway 47 corridor committee, you know, there's not gonna be much happen, but I can see where there's survey crews out there now occasionally, you know, doing minor surveying, and I guess that's so that they can start the process of the
They gotta
planning.
Put that study together, and that
Yeah, the study has to be done, and that's
Very
what
involved.
indicates the study is being done, is that there are survey crews, and you'll see marks along the side of the roads and whatever, identifying locations along the way. I think it's gonna be important as the study becomes closer to where they're gonna offer it to the public, that people become aware. That's where we will actually put the input, is actually when that study is done, and then be able to comment on the study itself. Because right now, you know, the money has been allocated to do the study, but the fruition of the thing is we have to stay on top of it and be a part of the study, particularly when it is presented. So, anyway, I'm just reminding people that the fact that we're gonna keep it on the agenda because it's, as these studies become due and done, it's gonna be important for the public to be involved.
And I think that public involvement starts near the end of the study rather than after the study,
Yes.
right?
And it's during.
Generally,
It's
yeah,
during
just
the
during,
study.
yeah.
And the study we're talking about is the capacity and safety improvements from Washington to St. Clair?
Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
that's it. Next item, 50/50 MoDOT grants.
Before I give an update on that, I just was pulling up an email for the, for the flood issue. In April, we submitted a letter to the Army Corps of Engineers for funding for a hydraulic study over there to determine if, you know, causeway, levee, whatever would work best, or just what the effects of either would be, just to get that study funded. On July 20th, they responded and said, you know, in the next few months, all of the proposals will be ranked nationally, and then we'll find out if we get funded. So I have not heard yet, but in July, they said they're still reviewing. So that'll at least get the study, the hydraulic part done.
Yeah.
So.
Very good.
And then on the 50/50 grants for MoDOT, I stand up for the 50/50 grants, but the only open one we have right now is actually the 100% grant for Oldenburg Industrial Park. We met with them twice last week with our person of contact there, and they actually said, don't call us a grant any longer. This is just a funded project through MoDOT that we are submitted. So we have gotten the plans about 80% done with Cochrane, and they said once they're 90% done, we can submit to them for review, and then we'll be ready to go out to bid. So last week, Cochrane said they're still hoping construction can start this winter. So, which is in line with what we're proposing to start with Oldenburg improvements as well. That was the plan, to keep those on the same schedule.
How much is that grant?
1.6 million, but that
1.6.
includes engineering cost.
Got it. Any other comments,
Should
questions?
we just call it funding now?
Yeah, there you go.
Good,
Very good. Thank you.
thank you.
MoDOT, Warren County. Anything, guys? Joe?
Not a whole lot, actually,
Teresa?
it's a lot with MoDOT and I-70 actually, that's going on right now. Almost every night this week, MoDOT's having a meeting. We have one tomorrow night in Warren County, Thursday night in Jonesburg. Gives us an update on what they're doing for Interstate 70 and other 3 lanes. October 12th and 13th, Missouri Highway Transportation Committee will be in our county for a couple of days, but right now, I-70 is probably our main focus right now.
Yeah, Teresa sent me a inquiry or telling me about the projects and the I-70 program, and I wrote a letter to Secretary Buttigieg being in favor of that I-70 improvements.
Yeah, tomorrow night from 4 to 6 at our administration building. You're more than happy to come up and listen, talk.
What day, where is it again?
That's tomorrow night at our administration building, tomorrow night at 4 to 6.
4 to 6?
I think tonight they're in Wentzville, right?
Wentzville tonight, I think tomorrow night our place, and then I think Thursday night in Jonesburg. They're just going up and down.
It's on our website,
Is it?
modot.org.
Okay, okay.
When do they anticipate starting?
ASAP, I mean.
I mean, this is what it is. This
A
is
lot
the
of,
final
from
meeting.
my understanding, certain projects, certain areas, gonna go out for bid, first part of the year, and they wanna be done by 2030. That's their
Good.
goal.
Yeah, it's,
And those meetings are open house.
That's a good question, Mr. Brinker. Actually,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a meeting Wednesday night about that. Can I wait till tomorrow night after that meeting? I don't want to say too much. Actually, really, to be honest with, from what I understand with MoDOT, their main concern is the interstate itself, 3 lanes, 3 lanes. So the ramps may be on certain people's, maybe on us or certain other funding, if that makes sense. So some of the questions may be asked tomorrow night to where there's some overpasses, the 6 lanes are not gonna make it under. So they're gonna have to be some improvement there. So we're actually having a special meeting within our county tomorrow, or Wednesday night, to see what kind of information they give us tomorrow night, so we can discuss it on Wednesday night, if that makes sense.
So would the overpass be on you as well?
We'll talk about that.
Wow.
I don't know all that. I mean, there's several in our county. There's one in St. Charles County, which is a major one, up in Forestell. That's a real critical one.
That's a big one.
That's a big
You know,
Or
and then we've
critical.
been working on one for 3 years on Strax Church through Wright City, so we got a little bit of funding to get that done, so we're trying to work on this with some business leaders throughout the county.
Uh-huh,
So
wow.
we want to do this, we don't want to do it later, we like to do it all at one time.
Sure.
So that's.
Get
what
3 lanes, you want to be able to use them.
Exactly, exactly, so,
Wow.
but, and Tim, you're right. I mean, that's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. Yeah, I mean, it's 2.8 billion they have for the 200 miles. You know, that's the 6 lanes, so there's a lot of overpasses, off ramps, off and on
All
ramps.
along
That's
the
gonna
way.
need some addressing. So, hopefully. So more y'all can come and talk about it, it's good for all of us.
Uh-huh. Good luck.
Please do.
well, I actually sent 2 letters, one from Freightways, and one from my own personal business, saying that it's necessary and that I am in favor of, improvements to I-70. And, that crosses 2 different counties, obviously. You guys are Warren County, and you're not in the East-West Gateway, so, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, we had a pretty good meeting on Friday with, a real good meeting with St. Charles and Tim and another gentleman, so they're all on board with us for sure.
Yes, yes, good. That's great, that's great. Anyway, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Old Highway, Special Road District. Ed, anything new?
Just normal stuff. Basically, we don't have all the agreement on the finishing Pottery Road yet. We're working on it.
A lot of activity down in that section of the town, isn't there?
Yeah.
You betcha. The Old Highway 100 Bridge, anything new?
There's not.
Nothing new. Airport? And we got Joe.
So we have our final walkthrough for the hangars with the contractor and CMT, our consultant, on September 6th. And so we'll be able to make sure that everything, final checklist, get them done. The new leases and new prices for the, actually the increase in existing and the new prices for the new hangars are go to council on Tuesday, the 5th, that council meeting for approval. And then we're hoping to have all those leases start in effect October 1 with the new budget. And so I'm not sure if John ever updated. The proposal was, what we brought to council was $25 increase per hangar per month on the existing, and then set the prices on the new hangars around that same rate with, there's not any, they're new, but there's not necessarily any additional amenities. There are a couple that are 2 of them that are a little bit bigger, so those will be $310 a month, which is our most expensive. But So that's proposed September 5th. And then we're meeting with Ann Wagner's office, actually, I believe next week. We're trying to nail down that schedule to figure out the guidelines of the appropriation dollars we got. Obviously, very gracious of the $3 million that we received in the omnibus bill, but that's not going to cover nearly the cost of widening and extending the runway. And so we're going to discuss with them, if that could possibly go towards the consulting, engineering, environmental, and everything, so that if additional funding comes up, it's all available. Or we could widen it, either widen it, lengthen, either, or we're going to talk to them about all our options next week. So we'll have an update on that.
How's the activity over there? Is it increasing? Can you tell just from?
So as far as I'm hoping that our next month I'll be able to actually show, our plan is to have month by month. I've just recently kind of taken over the airport, but in talking to Kevin and our new hire, Matt, that activity is still steady. What we're going to start doing is we have a new spreadsheet every day. We'll track arrivals and departures and fuel sales just in a spreadsheet. Every day we'll put that in. And so that way I can just every month show that. I know John had that in other things, but that's just, I think one spreadsheet will be the easiest way to show that from here on out. So
Very good.
we've told them September 1st start that new tracking system.
Very
So
good. Thank you. Anything else?
I'll just stay up here for the next two.
Oh, go ahead, East West Parkway.
Sal,
Team
is
track.
the proposal by Hoffman for helicopter ride from the Washington Airport, is that,
I don't believe that's moving forward. We met with them about a year ago, and we haven't heard anything since, so.
Team track.
No real update. Honestly, right now, we don't have any of our businesses utilizing it on a scheduled basis. So WEG was using it on a weekly basis. I believe with some of the price changes with Union Pacific and the other options they've had, they've decided to go with trucking or with another possible rail spur. As long as they're successful. That was an agreement with a grant that we had back in 2012. They didn't actually, we're not losing any funding with them switching, so that was fine with us. But we continue to market it as an available asset for the region. So,
Very good. East West Parkway.
East West Parkway, there was a budget amendment done at the last council meeting to finalize the plans for that first leg of it off Beaker Road. I think the original project included the land sale, but didn't have the full construction in there, so we just made a tweak to that budget, but it is included in our transportation sales tax, so council approved that, and I believe that gives Wunderlich and the developer the go-ahead. They can start whenever they're ready now, so. I think they're starting this fall. There you go.
Oh.
So.
I drove by there and saw the new water tank where it's going.
Yeah, yep, that actually, so we're not gonna, this first leg will not quite go, of the East-West Parkway, will not quite go to that South Point Road where the water tank is, but that is the proposed connection point, is right around where that new water tank is going will be the connection to East-West Parkway.
Yeah.
So we'll stub it for now, and then
Oh,
we'll be able to connect it right there, so.
It looks like a really great location for that tower. Just, if you sit there in that spot and you just look around, it's at a elevation, I'm sure this was all checked out well ahead of this, but. It was a lot better than the South Point spot. I can imagine, yes.
yeah, it was considerable savings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How high will that tower be? I mean, it was about 20 feet, I'm just curious. 100 feet?
I'd have to find out. I know it was probably at least 35 feet higher than the South Point location.
Okay,
That's the reason why we went there.
whatever, I'm just curious.
Would have been ideal to be on the other side of Goodsville, but that just couldn't be worked out.
South Point would have been an actual,
A
what
bowl,
they called a bulb,
a
or,
bowl,
and
yeah.
then this, yeah,
Yeah.
and this was able to be a tank, which is significantly cheaper.
I bet you it is, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
huge savings.
You bet. Anything else on that? Nothing on the Parkway? That's pretty much it? Okay, very good. Thanks, Al. East-West Gateway 2050 plans. Did you guys submit anything basically for the 2050? I mean, we've got,
That plan is already, I think it's just about
Yes, yes. Yep, okay, very good. We'll keep it on the agenda for now. Public transportation? There you go, Teresa's here.
The Mo Rides Boat Rides program that is administered by Boonslick Regional Planning continues to connect people needing transportation with transportation providers. We continue to look for additional public transportation options and additional opportunities for senior citizens and those with disabilities. Those are our major targets of opportunities to promote the program to them and let them know that it is available and that we are there to help. So.
Very good. How many people are you serving now? How many people are involved?
So it's a statewide program.
Yes.
So, I mean, we have, you know, last year we had over 45,000 hits on our website. We've got a website. We had almost 2,000 calls.
Very good.
So into our call center.
Very good. So, very good. Thank you, Teresa. If
There's
anything we
definitely a
can do,
need.
You know, let us know if there's anything this committee can do to help you in your endeavors.
You know, if anyone becomes aware of additional public transportation options, you know, please let us know so that we can, you know, include them in our resources for the people who call.
Very good.
So,
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Teresa. Well, this is a fast meeting. Any other business? Hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
And a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good grief.
Wow.
Half an hour.
There we go.
We got it all handled.
We did.
All we had to do is be down, rolling. It's all moving.
That's great.
Makes up for the times when it drags. So anyway, yeah, when there's a lot more to talk about, so.
This is what I sent to
It's a good deal.
Secretary Buttigieg.
Okay, Bill.
And basically, Teresa